Our presentation is going to be on Lyme disease in dogs, and it's going to be a simulation. My name is Nicholas Angelino.
My name is Melissa Martinez. Our project consists of the creation of a simulation program that shows how Lyme disease occurs in dogs and how it aids in learning, and how it aids the user in learning what biologically happens in the organism in a format that is more effective than simple text description. The significance of our project stems from the reality that information is mainly divulged through plain text, and while that is the simplest way, it is not the most beneficial. Research has shown that our brain is mainly an image processor, thus visuals are extremely efficacious in the retention and memorization of information. We intend to explore this idea by studying how people learn about Lyme disease in dogs, a growing malady that both pet owners and vets should be educated on. We will attempt to achieve this through a visually dynamic simulation we create as opposed to plain text. If successful, our program may be implemented regularly in veterinary schools and animal hospitals to show vets exactly where, when, what, and how a dog is affected by Lyme disease biologically. The program could also be used by regular pet owners, however, that is not as likely. For our objectives, we intend to create a program that will effectively teach critical information about Lyme disease in dogs to its user in a succinct and easy to understand manner. We also intend to design the program as a simulation that is visually dynamic, stimulating, and engaging so that the information will be memorized better, as well as explore how information presented visually is naturally recalled better as opposed to basic text with no visuals.
Basically, our hypothesis is that by creating a program that allows you to interpret information in a visually appealing and engaging way, you're going to retain more of that information. For methodology, we're going to first conduct research on how to code with Python, how Lyme disease affects dogs, and how a visual aid will improve your retention of knowledge or information you read. From there, we're going to, after gathering sufficient information, we're going to create our program geared off of the information and beneficial aspects of visual aids, so that the program's only shaped for what benefits it, because visual aids can also be bad for them, essentially. It can be too distracting if it's not informational. If it's just a picture, it's not going to tie in very well. After we've created the program, we're going to use Adobe Photoshop and Paint tools and we're going to create images to replace the placeholders within that program. And after it's fully debugged and the simulation is fully we verified the functionality, we're going to get 100 random individuals with little to no knowledge of how Lyme disease actually works and how it affects dogs. We're going to have 50 of those members. We're going to test them. Well, actually, first we're going to
50 will use a simulation and go through it, and then the other 50 will just read a document.
Yeah, just read a document with just text, no visual aids. So we can study the effect of which one will retain more knowledge and which one won't. And then afterwards, we're going to verify by giving one group a test, an identical test, and then the other group the same test, and compare the results and then share our findings.
All right, questions? Okay. So why did you choose the Lyme disease?
Well, first off, we're testing how visual aid will benefit your retention of knowledge. But Lyme disease was just an example, because not many people know about Lyme disease and how it actually works, and it's a good medium to test.
Okay, so that's the main reason. All right, yes, Shane.
I was just wondering, what kind of companies would want this?
Well, it depends on what the software as a whole. It would be good for educational purposes. Anything that has a complex scenario, you walk through it step by step, and you would be able to identify what's happening at each step. For example, with Lyme disease in dogs, how it affects first a tick bite. it would show you how the tissue becomes inflamed, and it would explain what's going on, and it would be able to walk through the steps rather than just look at something. So again, just educational purposes, universities.
You would want to see this go beyond like Lyme disease. So
Yeah, that's
Right, like in the ER, can they use
Or
that, for
any-
example?
yeah.
Right? I would think, right, that would be the best place to go, because then nobody knows what's going on with the patient. You have this mark, and then you go through that process of,
Right.
right, trying to see.
You'd be able to change out what topic it would be on.
Correct,
Lyme
yeah.
disease is just
So
one
that's
of the
what I would,
topics.
yeah, so I would think.
It's like I too. You're kind of targeting then kind of like the medical field really with this educational thing. Because I'm not sure how this particularly in-depth, like the complexity of the Lyme disease itself, how that would translate to more basic information in regular schools. I'm not sure who exactly your target is in that regard.
Well, you're focusing too much on the Lyme disease portion. You could,
I'm focusing on the complexity of it, because it is a disease. So I'm like thinking, how would this apply in regards to, say, math? Like, you can't do it in quite the same way. So you're just saying educational field,
it's more of a
but the complexity of it.
conceptual simulation. It's,
Right, so you get, once they have the program, I would assume that the step-by-step process is in there. You can make it as complex as you want
exactly.
for the application that you want. So, you know, if you want it for diagnostic purposes of stuff, then you diversify and make it as broad as you can in developing the program. They're just like providing the baseline of how to actually get the basic, and then you can go however you want to go from there, right?
Yeah.
I have an extensive knowledge of Python, but my issue is that you claim that you want to write a simulation in Python. To be able to diversify it, to have multiple learning systems, would it require rewriting the program each and every single time you want to write a new lesson?
Yeah.
So that would mean that they will have a lot of writing. Exactly.
Yes.
But that's the whole point, right?
You guys-
So
you
so
guys
maybe
plan on making it a system that is reapplicable, that you can just add new.
Right, that would be
or
it.
do you plan on rewriting it every single time, which is really annoying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Right. Well, I would imagine, again, I don't know how much knowledge you have with Python at this point. They're still learning, right? And so that's the whole point of this, is at least they know identity.
Yeah, I understand where he's coming from.
Right,
It just
right.
didn't occur to me.
Right, but you can, that's the thing, is once you get the knowledge of Python, like you said, you already have the knowledge of it, then you can now rethink of like, maybe I'll write something that would actually modify the Python itself. So that you can incorporate, you know, I mean, if you're on that level already, right, of understanding how the Python works, but just given where you are now, it's a good idea that, you know, they started on it. Make sense? Yeah. Any other questions? No? All right, Shane,